Fury after taking a 7-round beating and losing his title in Las Vegas Saturday night. Wilder had a lot of excuses for the loss, taking issue with his trainer's decision to throw in the towel and putting even more blame on the outrageous costume he wore for his walk-in to the ring, saying, quote, "The simple fact is that my uniform was way too heavy for me. I didn't have no legs from the beginning of the fight. But I'm a warrior, and people know that I'm a warrior. A lot of people were telling me it looked like something was wrong with you. Something was, but when you're in the ring, you have to bluff a lot of things. I tried my best to do so. I knew I didn't have the legs because of my uniform." Is Wilder making a fool of himself with the costume and cornerman excuses?
You combine those two, yes. But if you isolate those two, no. And here's my description. Pre-game, we always talk about it, especially in a bigger moment, Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes had to force himself to be subdued. Why? Get too amped before the pre-game, and I throw myself off. Tom Brady's never thrown a first-quarter touchdown in any Super Bowl. Mentally, you're off. Anxiety at its highest. Now you add, forget mental anxiety, because you can control that. Physical 40 pounds of weight, which is 360 atmospheric pounds of pressure on your body. If you're walking around with 40 pounds on you, full of that anxiety, full of that hype, and you go out there and fight, there will be a physical response and it will be adverse. Now, let's talk about I've never lost. I've never lost, Whitlock. Every fight, never lost. Down and out. Luis Ortiz, losing every round. Never lost because I hit him with this. I've been down and out before. Let's bring it back to my sport. New England Patriots, Super Bowl, down 28-3. If there was a cornerman in football, who would throw in the towel then? Probably most people. But this guy's like, I've never been out. Down and out, looking like it, but never out. You're going to be the reason I lose my first fight ever? Oh, I feel him. Isolated both of those variables. He has a good case, and he doesn't look foolish.
No, the combination for me is the problem. If he was saying that I was just tired, if it was, I was just tired and that's the only reason I lost this fight, which is what he's saying. He's suggesting that he didn't get tagged and get tagged. You said 7-round beating. It wasn't 7-round losing. It was 7-round beating. He's suggesting that Fury did not hit him. The concern from the corner was he's not going to get hit because his legs are tired. He's going to continue to get hit the way he's been hit. I'm sorry, but if you trust your corner to stay with you through all those fights, and they let you live and continue on, and then they look at this one and say, it's a bad bet, based on who you're up against and based on how this has gone to this point, I can't look at them and say, you cost me. Like, do you think, do any of you think that if he had stayed in that fight, that he had stayed around, that he was possibly going to win that fight?
1% chance.
You know, I don't think he's making a fool of himself, but it sounds foolish, is what I'll say. And listen, in terms of what you're going to wear for your uniform leading up to the fight, you should be in such great condition, because unlike football, you get a week to prepare for a game. If it's preseason, you're preparing for a couple months, but you're still using training camp to get yourself ready to go. You get used to the shoulder pads, the helmet, and everything else. You are preparing for one singular moment. And that's what your, 9-week training session? 9 weeks of training. If you have no legs based off of carrying that uniform to the ring, I would first question, how good a condition are you in? That's first and foremost. Secondly, in terms of throwing in the towel, the 6th and 7th round, if you're his trainer, the 6th and 7th round, he threw a total of total punches, 6 punches. That includes 2 jabs and 4 power punches. He landed 6. That's a total of 32 shots that he put out there.
Whoa. How many punches did he throw? You said he threw 6 and he
in round 6 and 7 of that fight, because I thought that his trainer should have
Tell the stat.
Okay, the stat, he threw 2 jabs in round 6 and 7 and 4 power punches that landed. So total, he threw 32 over those two.
Got you.
Did y'all get that?
Yeah, we got it. He threw 32 punches, landed 6.
He only landed 6
Yeah.
and threw 32 punches in 2 rounds.
Thank you for repeating.
Yeah, all right, no
Yeah,
worries.
and you were geared up for that one moment. Yeah, what kind of shape are you in?
But
giving us
I'm not out of shape. I still delivered the point.
Look, he's
His stats.
Thank you.
He's making himself a meme, a joke. If you look all over social media, people are mocking the hell out of him. You take that type of ass whooping, just shut
Just
up.
take it.
Even if you got excuses, even if they're legitimate excuses, don't make them. Do your little deal, trigger your rematch, and give your explanation in the ring the next time. You chose to put on the costume.
You did.
You chose to wrap yourself in Black history, and I'm gonna have this race deal going into that. Created part of the anxiety. It's just like you said. You talk about the stakes were raised in the arena. The stakes were raised in the ring, and he raised them on himself. He built up this mountain and fell off the top of that mountain.
Icarus.
And the other thing, if his legs were tired, I don't think it's the costume. I think it's what other boxers have said. He just fought in November. He turned around and fought too soon. He needed 2 or 3 more months in between fights. That's why his legs might be tired. But when you get beat up like that, don't nobody want to hear no excuses, even if they're legitimate.
I don't care what they want to hear. They're going to hear it. You know why? I'm not caving to the social media meme bullies. Who the hell are they? And that's all they do. And if they do it, I have to now stay silent and quiet with my reasons.
What about the respect from your peers?
How about this?
His peers don't want to hear this.
First of all, I don't give a damn about your respect either. Initially, in priority, it's about how I feel. Listen, he was accountable. He said the best man won that night. If you read the whole article, he also said, I credit Fury, but I also take responsibility for being the guy who wore this irresponsibly. Now, with that said, in our sport of football, how many times I've been in the locker room? How many times you been in the locker room? Dude over there complaining about his thigh pads that weighs 0.3 ounces because he can't run as fast. How many times we see the dude get on the field and it's cold outside, all of a sudden he can't play as well? Let's not act like conditions, mental or physical, don't have a play in your game.
There's one thing, though, to complain about the conditions, and another's one to blame the result on those conditions. And that's the issue that I have here. He's saying he lost. Yeah, he mentioned that Fury won, but he's saying, boy, it would have been a different outcome if not for this or this. It's a little bit like the player who says, you know what? I played well. The coach game plan wasn't
I'm going to give you another one. I'm going to give you another one.
Y'all wrong.
They fought 19 rounds altogether.
Don't give me this. I know this.
19 rounds.
And
Other than landing 2 punches in the
He's
first
lost
fight.
17 of them.
Yeah, and so
I know. Luis Ortiz, he lost every one,
I
too.
get it, but after 19 rounds, no excuses. Take your beating, trigger your rematch, show up in September, October,
Not
whenever,
fair, man.
November,
You
fight
know what?
your fight.
Tyson could have hurt him.
Styles make fights. Let's be real. He's not going to win on points. He's not a better boxer. He wins off of this. That detonation can turn 17-2 around for
Tyson
another.
Don't tell me, show me.
Tyson Fury
Don't
could have
tell me,
hurt him
show me.
bad,
I hear
and he didn't
He
finish
did
him
hurt
off.
him bad. That's why
and he didn't finish him
And he
off.
could have hurt him more than what he
Coming
did.
up,
That's a confidence builder.
sound like there's trouble brewing in Minnesota between Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. We'll tell you why it may be a big deal. Next.